Good morning, everyone. We're going to be going through the NCIS CI and Insider Threat Awareness and Reporting Brief training. This is our last NK of the semester, and it'll just be conducted virtually, so please just watch this video. I'll try to keep it pretty quick for you guys, and then fill out my tracker saying that you have done so. So we'll go ahead and get started. So what is an insider threat? The insider threat leaves a long line of victims. This leads to loss of critical information and technology. It dramatically decreases the United States' ability to maintain battlefield superiority, strategic and tactical advantages, and our forces' ability to protect themselves. So that's the general overview of what an insider threat does to our forces. Insider threat, the definition: it is an insider who uses his or her access wittingly or unwittingly to harm national security interest or national security through the following data points, as can be seen here. I'll send this out just so you can get further review if you so desire. The threats. 580 people have been charged with espionage between 1945 and 2016. It's nearly 1 out of 4 since 2008. So quite a bit of those people have been more recent. And as such, we have trainings to kind of help you identify what these people are and what they do. Types of threats: terrorism, espionage, radicalization, workplace violence. So many forms, and we're going to go through how to identify some of these traits. So FEI is a foreign intelligence entity, and that is a foreign organization, person, or group that conducts intelligence activities to acquire U.S. information, block or impair U.S. intelligence collection, influence U.S. policy, disrupt U.S. systems and programs, or gain competitive edge. An example of this could be the Russian GRU organization that kind of influenced the 2016 election. Espionage is the act of obtaining, delivering, transmitting, communicating, or receiving information about national defense with an intent or reason to believe that information may be used to the injury of the United States or to the advantage of a foreign nation. More than 70% of those convicted of espionage were citizens born in the United States. It goes back to the fact that a lot of these people are those around us that are committing these crimes. Terrorism. We all pretty much know what this is, but generally the unlawful use of violence or threat of violence to instill fear in coerce governments or societies. And more than 50% of terrorist attack victims worldwide are civilians. Self-radicalization. This is just like people becoming terrorists without an affiliation to the specific organization that they are claiming to be a part of. So a lot of times they're just being influenced by the ideology and messaging of these groups and kind of act as, the lone wolf is what the typical term is. Inadvertent. This is the whole like loose lips sink ships. Obviously now it's translated more modernly to loose tweets sink fleets. And that means just essentially, right, there's not intended harm to create a threat, but we still need to be vigilant over our operational security and other components such as that. Workplace violence. Between 2011 and 2014, 1,756 people were killed in the U.S. as a part of workplace violence. And some of the motivations for these things are to gain control, to bring attention to or solve a problem, or seeking revenge or justice. So now we're going to go through a little bit of the methods of operations of these threats. Using public resources openly and without resorting to illegal means, it is possible to gather at least 80% of information about the enemy. That is sourced from an Al-Qaeda handbook. So you can see that our enemies, I should say, are very well aware of the fact that their target population, being us and other Westerners, use social media a lot, and a lot of information can be garnered just to the simple open sourcing that occurs on these platforms. So traditional methods: over 97 countries, both friends and foes, target the United States seeking information and technology through open source, elicitation, eavesdropping, and recruitment. Open source, publicly available information, obviously, like newspapers, blogs. We talked about social media. That's kind of the big one that we hit on these days. And characteristic of open source information is just the fact that it's like done passively a lot of times, meaning it's captured via unsecure networks or public places. So there's no like hacking going on or any active internet efforts. How it's used, information is provided about personal interests, preferences, motivations, reveal personal and professional activities, identify potential vulnerabilities, and provide more details than should be shared. Adversary's goal, to create a target about you, essentially, be able to exploit your vulnerabilities, recruit you, or gather intelligence. How do you protect your information? Obviously, limit publicly available information, use multiple and strong passwords, and limit the use of professional networks for personal business. Don't access private data or public networks, and be wary of the people you might meet online. Solicitation, get you talking and keep you talking. It's a common and effective technique to subtly collect information through face-to-face or online interactions. It's often used during facility and ship tours and at conventions and seminars where participants are eager to share information, so be aware of those scenarios. Operates under the guise of think tanks, exchange students, research organizations, foreign liaison officers, and official delegations. It's non-threatening, so it's a lot more of a subtle way to garner information. It's easy to describe or to disguise, as I said, through like research students, dignitaries, things like that, people that you wouldn't necessarily suspect of trying to collect information on you. And it kind of hits on the human element of we are polite and helpful as people, and we just try to engage when engaged with. Adversaries MO, a lot of flattery, appeal to ego. So it's asking your specific opinion about things. There's some quid pro quo, which sharing information with you in hopes that you'll reciprocate. Mutual interest, focus on details you have in common. Subtle defense of this is to listen more than you talk, change the topic, plead ignorance, and just like generally don't answer when these sorts of things are happening. Going through eavesdropping, electronic surveillance is an operative positioned within earshot of conversation or within view of a computer screen. Communications intercepted when devices are connected to public Wi-Fi, unsecured networks, or unencrypted email systems. Recruitment, build personal relationship and gain trust little by little, exploit personnel weakness or circumstances, coerce or use inducements, start with small requests and make bigger demands, praise and reward for accomplishments. And a lot of the more recent espionage cases have done with recruitment, just like the Chinese government paying people in America to give up information. Combating the cyber threat, limit the personal info you post online, be wary of people you meet online, check privacy policies of sites you use regularly. All these things are just all efforts to better secure your information on many of the sites you use every day. So what makes us specifically targets? Ask yourself the following questions. Do I have access to information or means to acquire? Does my behavior make me stand out to adversaries? Do I have personality characteristics that can be manipulated? A lot of these all lead to the possible answer of yes and could make you a potential target to an adversary for the purposes of collection. Bullseye. You don't need to be the most valuable target, just the most available one. So the goal of this is to kind of make you realize that decreasing your availability or the surface area of attack will, in effort, like decrease the ability for an attacker to get information from our organization. Circumstances beyond your control. No matter how careful you are, there are certain elements of your job and background you simply can't regulate. Placement, so where you're stationed, some areas are more of value than others. Access, nature of the information, so what kind of clearances you have could make you a bigger target. The culture, so people may try to appeal to you on a cultural, ethnic basis, and you being of a certain cultural or ethnic background could make you a bigger target for the efforts of recruitment in order to commit espionage. Behaviors that attract. So personal relationships, interactions with foreigners, especially close ongoing relationships, can be viewed as an outsider as an opportunity. Illegal, immoral, unethical, or embarrassing behavior may be seen as a willingness to participate in unlawful activity and could open the door for blackmail. Open disapproval of U.S. policies could be a sign that you sympathize with anti-American sentiments or philosophies, or with the actions of foreign entities. Grievances with superiors. So when you're openly disgruntled with your employer, you could be a target by outsiders encouraged to act against your organization. Financial problems, just debt can make you a target for blackmail. Substance abuse, same kind of thing. If people are aware that you're abusing drugs or alcohol, it could make you an easier target for recruitment. Characteristics of target. 55% of spies volunteered without coercion or recruitment by an adversary. These characteristics exist on a continuum and can be seen to some degree in many law-abiding patriotic people. Alone, these characteristics don't necessarily cause someone to be a target, but they might make you a more attractive target. Antisocial has a propensity for violating commonly accepted rules and regulations, patterns of lying, misrepresentation, gross exaggeration. Takes pleasure in beating the system and not getting caught. So that's a characteristic trait. Narcissistic, views the world from the perspective of how does this affect me, treats others as objects to be manipulated for personal benefit. Impulsive, does whatever feel good or is thrilling at a moment without regard for short and or long-term consequences. Has a pervasive mistrust of others that could lead to viewing the government or an employer as an enemy, which is paranoid. Entitled, believes oneself inherently deserving of privileges or especially favorable treatment. Vindictive, has a preoccupation with getting revenge for real or imagined wrongs. So here we go, moving on to number 5. What indicators should you look for? One in 3 of connected U.S. spies experience one or more reportable life events, positive or negative, 6 to 8 months before attempting espionage. So key indicators of espionage, there are certain characteristics, actions, and behaviors that indicate someone is considering or already committed espionage. Disgruntled, display signs of increased dissatisfaction with job, boss, or employer. Divided loyalties, that could be personal religious beliefs or conflicts with duties. Working odd hours, so that's a sign that someone may be doing something not entirely kosher if they're working in hours that the rest of their department or division isn't working. Unauthorized removal, that's a big no-no. So taking classified documents or folders from secured areas without permission. Unauthorized devices, it's USB drives, like non-registered smartphones, smartwatches, things like that, into authorized spaces. No need to know, so possesses or researchers materials or information unrelated to their job role or duties. Seeking info, makes inquiries to coworkers and other departments about sensitive or classified information unrelated to their current duties. Unnecessary copying, photocopy documents excessively or burns an inordinate number of files to CDs. Makes purchases that appear to be beyond their means. Bragging, talk excessively about work and what they know in the mixed company. Foreign travel, a lot of like unscheduled, unexpected, unexplained trips to foreign countries. Unreported contacts, so just having close familiar contacts in other areas of the world without proper documentation. Indicators of terrorism, research has shown that perpetrators and supporters of terrorism display common behaviors leading to attack. It's up to you to help identify them before it's too late. Membership, so known membership in or attempts to conceal membership in any group that advocates force or violence to achieve political goals has been identified as a front group for foreign interest or advocates loyalty to a foreign interest instead of loyalty to the United States. Statements, so just saying things in conversations, online, and other forums in support of terrorism. Publications, possession or distribution of publications prepared by a person that like advocates violence for these groups. Internet activities, frequently views websites that promote extremist or violent activities, but access is not job related. Weapons threats, make statements about having or getting weapons or materials, or about learning how to make such devices. Sedition, advises, counsels, urges, or in any manner attempts to cause insubordination, disloyalty, mutiny, or refusal of duty by any member of the United States Armed Forces. Key stressors. Research indicates many individuals who exhibited violent behavior or participated in espionage had experienced a key stressor within a few months of the act. employee assistance programs, EAP resources. Here are some resources that can relieve stress from people around you. So number 6, the most important step, reporting. What's a report? While we've covered many of the reportable contacts, activities, indicators, and behaviors in this presentation, DODD 5240.06 lists all 53 mandated reporting requirements. So there's some types of things that you are mandatorily required to report and can be held liable if not. So in terms of reporting FIE, here are some of the things that you must report under that DoD notice. International terrorism, there's 4 things as you can see here. Associated cyberspace, so efforts through hacking and things like that that you must report if you witness or are able to see on your computer. Reporting foreign contact and travel, let your security manager know before you go and inform them of any foreign friends and associates. Good example of this is just like filling out the SF-86. You have to list a lot of those things. You must report to NCIS any contact with the person regardless of nationality, whether within or outside the scope of your official activities in which illegal or unauthorized access to classified information or otherwise sensitive information is sought, or you suspect that you may be the target of exploitation by a foreign entity. So it's always just safer to report rather than find yourself in a situation where you're being questioned. If you have a security clearance, you must report the following. So any foreign connections, including those in your family, cohabitant, or any persons to whom you are bound by affection or obligation that are not U.S. citizens. Any financial interest in a foreign country, so bank accounts, like investments in companies somewhere outside the bounds of the United States. All personal foreign travel is part of your required periodic reinvestigation. So that's just filling out your DTS paperwork when you're supposed to. If you have special access such as CPI, SCI, and SAP, the additional reporting responsibilities include, so you have to report basically all your travel and all your foreign contacts, close and continuing. The process of reporting, it starts with an indicator. What happens next is up to you. So indicator, you've noticed a coworker's reportable behavior or you're concerned you're being targeted, exploited, or coerced. Here are some things that you can do to report. And conclusion and contact info. Just OPSEC reminders. A couple things here, obviously, that we've kind of gone over. Need to know principle, just follow that. Keep people out of the loop unless they need to be in it. Create strong passwords, pretty simple. Never speak of sensitive information in public or on unsecured lines. Ultimately, the responsibility to notice and report concerns lies with you, so ensure that you are taking this seriously. We are the first line of defense, and it is our duty to report. That's all we've got. If you have any questions, please just let me know. But other than that, have a great day.